Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
It's already been a rich service, but I got something to say. And I do apologize in advance. I didn't get the chance to preach last weekend, so I have a double sermon for you. No. Just got a lot of energy. I want to share something with you. But first, do y'all know the cartoons of Maxine? A woman of a certain age who tells it like it is. So this is what I just saw this yesterday. She says this: if my body were a car, this is the time I would think about trading it in for a newer model. Because every time I sneeze, cough, or spurter, either my radiator leaks or my exhaust backfires. That tickles me a lot. So I've chosen for our topic today, freedom is your birthright. This comes from a quote by Ernest Holmes on the first page of his seminal work, The Science of Mind. This is what he says: the divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God-ordained. Say that with me. Bondage is not God-ordained. I love that. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. All instinctively feel this truth. It points to freedom under the law, and it doesn't mean human law. It means the spiritual laws. Thus, the inherent nature of man, or humankind, is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. And we do well to listen to this inner voice, for it tells us of a life wonderful in its scope, of a love beyond our fondest dreams, of a freedom which the soul craves. I have 3 points, as I often do on these Sunday mornings. I want to talk about freedom. What's the first one? Freedom to. And then I'm going to talk about freedom from, and then I'm going to talk about freedom in. This first one, the freedom to simply be the gift of God you are. It's already what you are. It's already who you are. You are expressions of, I am an expression of infinite good, infinite love, life, love, power, peace, beauty, joy. That's what I am. That's what you are. We are one. That's what our name means. It's not just a catchy little name for our church. This is the movement called Unity. Unlike some Christian churches, unlike some other religions where they tell us that we're fallen, that we were born in original sin, we say we never fell anywhere, that we were created in grace and we have moved in grace, and we believe in original blessing in unity. And so the point of this is that to be freedom to be who you are, just as you are. No matter your skin color, your gender, your age, your physical ability or disability, your sexual orientation or gender expression, you are created in the image and the likeness of the One, because the One is infinite. And it needed someone that looked just like you, someone that loves just like you. You are the gift of God. So, you don't have to earn it. There's nothing you have to go out and say, well, now I can be. You already are. You already are created in this image and this likeness. Jesus had something to say about this. I do believe that even though the religion that grew up after him is largely dualistic, I believe Jesus was a non-dual teacher. And it's the way I read the scriptures, it seems pretty clear. I love this one. Luke chapter 12. Verse 32, fear not, little flock, it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Let's think about birthright for a moment. Jesus would have been speaking to a first century Jewish audience. The firstborn received the birthright. And so when Jesus makes this statement, all of you, it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. He's speaking of something beyond the cultural norms of the day. They would have understood this idea of birthright And what Jesus is saying is that we were all given this kingdom. And what is the kingdom? It means to be in alignment from a metaphysical perspective. It means to be in alignment with spiritual truth and principle, to be living in peace, to be living in joy, to be living in oneness with other people and connection, to be living with our lives feeling free and fulfilled. Amen? That's what the kingdom is like. And you don't have to go looking for it. You don't have to take a class to get there. You do not have to be certified. It is the Father, Mother, Creator's good pleasure to give it to you because it is your birthright. And then in Matthew 19, verses 13 and 14, some people brought some little children to Jesus. They wanted him to place his hands on the children and pray for them, but the disciples told them not to do it. And Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me. Don't keep them away. The kingdom of heaven belongs to people like them." And Jesus placed his hands on them to bless them. This is not a parable or a miracle story, but it is a Jesus in action story. That these children who, they haven't taken the classes, they haven't earned the right to sit by the teacher according to the human way of looking at it. They're just kids. And she says, no, bring them here, because he recognized a teaching opportunity for his followers. You got to be like this. Now, what does that mean? What are children like? What was Jesus seeking to show us there? Children, have you ever known a child that just comes out and just like, they just are, thank you. And they don't have to work for their right to be fed, do they? It's our natural way to care for them. And those of you who are parents, have you ever withheld your love or your good from a child that needs it? No. And imagine now, we get it. Here, I want to say this too. This was not in my notes, but I feel it's important. When we talk about God, that's just a word that humans made up to talk about something that is beyond our ability to fully comprehend or understand. So we all come in with sort of conditioned thoughts about what that is. Most of us grew up with a male God, a judging God. But someone recently said that the word God is like a blanket we throw over the mystery just so we have something to look at and point at and talk about. But God is mystery. The infinite reality is beyond our ability to fully hold because it is infinite. And so if the old traditional metaphors for God, and they are metaphors, a father, if that doesn't work for you, substitute it. If mother is a kinder image for you, work with that. You get to find your own language of working out your relationship with infinite good. That Jesus saw an opportunity to talk about the innocence of children as an ideal for us to come into right relationship with that mystery, to come into right relationship with reality, because it's not something you work for or earn. It is yours. The innocence of children, that still exists within you and I. But we have some things on top of it, amen? Which brings me to freedom from. That's what we've got to get free from. All of those false beliefs, all of the lies of the conditioned mind. See, there's only one mind. I love our teaching. It's called New Thought. And not because it is relatively new. It began in the mid to late 1800s. But what it means is that when we hold a new thought, we create a new experience with this infinite power. And so it is the mind that must be reconditioned. We must be free from those false beliefs and cultural identities and things that we were told, the things that got layered upon us as children. And as adults, we still assume that that's the way it is. So we believe in our limitation. We believe in our inability. We believe in our unworthiness for love, and that ain't it. Because remember, you're free to live your birthright as an expression of God. So this freedom from thing, I've been at this a while. I came into this teaching 31 years ago, and I still feel like I'm the new kid. And I've also been in the recovery movement for a long time too, and I realized I always, just so looked up to those people that had decades of recovery, and I got so much wisdom from them. And just the other day I was in a meeting, I thought, oh God, that's me. Do I have wisdom to offer here? I don't know. But I've become one of the elders. I feel a little nervous about it. But I'm grateful for those who came before me. How do we do this work? And believe me, I told you the other one is free. Your freedom too. There's no cost there. It's just what you're. This one requires something. Ernest Holmes said this later on in The Science of Mind. The law is a law of freedom, but it is not a law of license. It is exact and exacting. And unless we are willing to comply with its nature and work with it along the lines of its inherent being, we shall receive no great benefit. This is the part I want you to hear. Every person must pay the price for that which he receives, and that price is paid in mental and spiritual coin. We have to build our consciousness to be a match for the truth of that which we already are. And this means, as Michael Beckwith says, everything we do in spirituality is subtractive. You don't need to add anything to you, but we must do the work of releasing that which we have taken on as our truth, which was never true. That's the way we pay for this freedom from, by doing the W-O-R-K, which is a 4-letter word, I know. It is, and I've never met a single person who has really gone deep into this teaching of unity and of new thought and has gained the benefits of this transformational theology without doing the work. If that person could just walk in and get it on the first day and totally transfer everything, I would resign, and they would now have my job if they wanted it. But everyone I know and respect in this teaching does their work. And what does that look like? Well, it's going to, again, just like your relationship with God is going to be individual to you, your path of healing, of evolution is going to be unique to you. Mine has really consisted of recovery work, talk therapy, and this teaching, study and practice that we offer here at Unity. That's really what those have been. They continue to be the 3 main paths. I dabble other places too, and I've been blessed by that. There are so many modalities. I love that we are in a community and in a tradition that recognizes there's truth in all of it. Let's see, what else do I want to say about that? Yeah, I think I'll let that go. I use this a lot: discover, uncover, and discard. This is a simple shorthand for how we can do the work of our freedom from. We discover there's a pattern in our lives. And you know what yours are. The pattern of always running out of month before you run out of paycheck. You know about that? The pattern of being in relationship after relationship after relationship with people that don't treat you well. Who's the common denominator in that situation? Yeah. We see the patterns. There's a wonderful story in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew Scriptures, about Moses wants to see God. God says, you can't see my face, you can't handle it, but I'll let you see my hind parts. And so God puts Moses in the cleft of the rock. God walks by, and Moses is able to gaze his eyes upon the hind parts of God. It's a deep metaphor. You can't see the mystery, but you can sure see where it's been. You may not be able to know everything about God, but you can see when it's been active and doing wonders in your life. And the same is true for our unconscious mind. It's unconscious. We don't know where all these patterns are and what they're doing for us. But if we do the work, well, first of all, before we do the work, we can see what it's doing in our lives, what our beliefs in limitation and separation are creating. We can see I've got this pattern that's not working. I say I want to do something healthy, and yet I go back to the fast food drive-in. You know, these are patterns that we begin to see in our lives. It looks like, it got quiet in here. Sometimes people tighten up. My friend Cynthia used to say, preacher, you done quit preaching and gone to meddling now. And many people lose heart at this stage of their spiritual growth. It's too hard. It's taken too long. I just wanted that quick 1, 2, 3, manifest the boyfriend and the good job and the car. That's what I wanted. The work is deeper than that. And you're worth doing it. You are worth it. There's a line from the big books of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I want to share with you. It says, this spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. And if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, and the phase that it's talking about is cleaning up our unconscious mind, cleaning up our behavior, taking responsibility for what we've done, choosing new ways of being in the world. If we are painstaking at this phase, we will be amazed before we're halfway through. And what follows is what's called the promises. We are going to know a new freedom and happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. Anybody want some of that? Yes. No matter how far down the scale we've gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in other people. Self-seeking will slip away. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And those promises are true for anyone on a spiritual path if they're willing to do the deeper work to get free from the limitations of your conditioned mind. We have to do it. So I knew that those were the first 2 points. I've been working on this for a few weeks. And I was going freedom to, freedom from. Like, what's my third point? Last week I was in California for that high holy day called Super Bowl with my friend Maggie Cole. And I have such compassion for her Niners. They didn't do it. It was a good game. And I don't remember what it was in our conversation. But I was thinking about, it brought to mind the things that we want to change and they don't change. Our broken political system, wars and violence in the world. I think about our brothers and sisters over at Lakewood and what they went through last week. So much trouble in our world. We're in it. We are in a world that is not fully living under spiritual principle, or have you noticed? And it's true of us personally, and it's true in our families, and it's true in the greater world. So how do we find freedom in? How do we find freedom in whatever it is that's happening that is not what we wanted, it's not what we thought we were working towards, we've been doing our work, and this other thing, it's here. Well, my dear friend Maggie has a prayer or a saying that I think is really useful. If I've done the spiritual mind treatment, I've done the affirmative prayer, and I'm still in it, to just simply ask this, show me what's here. Show me what's here. Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for the good of them that love God and are called according to his purpose. And that's all of us. All of us are called to live that freedom of our birthright. All of us are called to that. And so everything works for our good. The two things that I definitely did not want to be true in my life, to be gay and to be an alcoholic, both turned out to be the doorways into my spiritual freedom. I don't know how. That's a God question. But something was revealed in those difficult times, and that continues to be true for me again and again when I'm just in it. It's not moving. I can't pray this away. I can't make those people act better in Austin and in Washington. I can't do it. And what's required at that moment? St. Paul had something to say about it. And I mean St. Paul the Beatle, not St. Paul the Apostle. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Surrender. The way to be free in it is to surrender. Not surrendering to the negative conditions, surrendering to the truth that there is a God bigger than any condition you face, that holds you, that lifts you, that loves you, that is you in expression, living through you. Surrender to that. Surrender isn't giving up. Surrender is giving over. I release my need to control this thing. Trusting that something bigger than me, more grand and magnificent than me will come through me, for me, to me, as me, and I will be free in this. And you know what? I'm just going to say this. I love the black women in this church because they know how to lift a preacher up when he needs it. Thank you, Helen. I love y'all. So, our need to control is a good thing in the right measure. Ernest Holmes also said in what he called the statement of faith, that he said these are the things that are true about our teaching. One of them is, he says, we believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. And I didn't know how to work with that because my attempt to control conditions led me into some bad places. And I was at a church in Santa Rosa, California many years ago, and Reverend Edward Viljoen stood on that stage, and he was teaching on this statement of faith. And he said, statement of principles is actually what it's called. And he got to that one, and I was like, what's he going to say? And he said this. He said, the only condition we are ever intended to control is that of our divided mind. That of my divided mind. Where are the places that I have separated from the truth of God in my own mind? Control that condition and trust that once we're in the kingdom, life gets easier. I'm not saying it's easy. We still face difficulty. Every one of us will face illness, loss, getting older, aging, dying. That's just part of the system here. We're in it. But can we find freedom through surrender? The last thing I want to say is that when we are in something, pain, fear, grief, a world that appears to be broken in so many ways, the encouragement here is to rest in love. To rest in love. Mary Oliver is a great poet. She writes this: when I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech and the oaks and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, stay awake. The light flows from their branches. And they call again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. This is your birthright. You don't have to change anything to be the light of God. And once you realize you are the light of God, you will change everything. You will change everything. One last thought, and then we're going to pray. I was watching one of my favorite sci-fi series, and it's my little way of unwinding. And one of the characters who had just gone on a difficult journey, she was going on a difficult journey she might not come back from, to her partner, she had left a message. And she made it through, rest easy. She came back and she said, did you listen to my message? And he said, no, I didn't want to hold the possibility that you might not come back. And she played it for him. And in that message, she said this. She said, I want you to hold the love that we share, and when I'm gone, go build on that with someone else. That way I get to live on in you, in the way you love others. When I say rest in love, I mean that. To take all of the love we've been given and to build on it. In a few minutes after we pray, I'm going to say, like I usually do, if no one has told you today they love you, I love you. I want you to know that's not just me saying it. That's my dad who loved me so well. That's my mom who loved me and continues to love me so well. My grandmothers and their grandmothers. Love comes through us. And each of us, if we're simply willing to rest in our love and our lovability and our ability to love, we will heal this world. Pray with me now. In this moment, recognizing that love is the nature of reality, the self-givingness of spirit into creation, that's what's happening here. And so I rest in that awareness that there is nothing that is outside of this great circle of love that is God. All is held together, all working together to the good of all that are called to this awareness. And we are calling ourselves to this awareness of the great reality. So we can rest in this knowing that we don't have to go fix every problem. We only need to come into the consciousness of love and to stay there, to be content with who we are in this moment, to shine as children shine. And we are in the kingdom. So in this moment, I know that each of us commits to living here more fully, more freely, more frequently, to be in that consciousness of love and connection. And from that, truly, love grows within us and from us, and we plant those seeds of love everywhere we go for healing. We call it good and very good, and so it is. Amen. So I'll say it one more time. We are building a community of love and belonging, and I don't care where you come from or where you are right now. We are offering you relationship. We're offering you love, a place to grow. And if no one has told you today that they love you, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.